Okay, hey, hi. Quick note before we start. The thing, someone, I'm not saying me, because it would be a very stupid thing, and as we all know, I'm not stupid. But someone, of unknown origins may or may not have decided to redo the data structure on her computer and, shove some stuff around on there because her computer may or may not have 3 hard drives, and she may or may not have decided that video content goes on a different hard drive now, and she can delete everything else off of the other one which she doesn't need anymore. Really stupid stuff. And that person that I'm talking about, that indescript person, nobody knows who that is. God fucking damn it, shut up. There's a plane. No. No. Plus children, which I think I know because they're my neighbor's children. I'm never recording stuff out on the balcony again. I thought it would be a nice idea, but because the weather's nice and everything's nice, and this dress is nice, but I'm never doing it again. No. Said indescript person who is a data specialist and a PC specialist, basic stuff, and redid her whole data structure on her PC. Not me, again, not me, because I'm not stupid and I don't do stupid stuff. Deleted all of the stuff, all of the footage of her sewing this top of her PC. The thing is, she had also deleted them off her phone when she dragged them over to her PC. So this person, who shall remain unnamed, tried to recover the data, but failed miserably, because she noticed way too late. And so this person, again, who is not me, feels very sorry and very bad, but it means that I have to do things a bit differently this time. So here's this quick note that's telling you that, and this quick note that's telling you how I did it. So what I'm doing instead is I'm gonna get the top and the collar, and I'm gonna film parts of it, the parts, like with me showing you them, the parts that I would have sewn. So for example, if I'm talking about the side seams, I'm going to show you the shirt and the side seam of the shirt, and so show you where I've sewed along the line, because I was still using my old sewing machine, which does weird things. I have a new one now, which you will see in future videos, I guess. But yeah, that's it. That's the whole author's note. It's probably longer than the OG video, but hey, that's what editing is for. Thank you for watching, thank you for sticking with me. I know you're only 5 people, but you're 5 people I love. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope we get to see each other else time is not a word. I hope we get to see each other again sometime. And now, without further ado, I always say that and then I do further ado, but without further ado, please enjoy the video, and please enjoy my making of my Toko Fukawa cosplay. This is the 3rd part. We're making the top and the sailor collar. Here you go. Hello, it is I again, and I'm back, this time with the 3rd video, and the last piece in my how I made my Toko Fukawa cosplay series. This one actually took me some time to get done, because uni started up again, and it's all online, and I'm not a fan. It's not going great. It's so weird. I don't want to start rambling about it, but I really miss my friends, and I really miss talking to people, and I don't know if I've mentioned, but I'm in media studies, and we have a lot of discussions and seminars and all of that stuff, and it's really important to talk about people. To talk about people, but to talk with people is what I meant to say. So this is kind of weird, and like one of the big problems with media studies as well is that you have to translate your scientific progress, your scientific ideas and discoveries, you have to translate them into another medium, because language in and of itself is a medium, and it's a completely different medium from film. So when we're talking about film, we've already translated information from one medium into another, and that makes it kind of difficult to get somewhere. So now we have like 10 of these translations in between, and it really makes stuff hard. So yeah, not great. And I know that it's important right now that we do it this way, and I know it's for safety reasons, and I know that I'm probably not the only one struggling. Like, sometimes I get to talk to my friends, and that's the other thing, you don't see them as much, and it just kind of sucks. But sometimes you get to talk to other people and you notice that you're not the only one struggling, yet still it gets lonely in between, and then you just feel like you're the only one in the world again who just can't handle this stuff, and not great. But I'm back. I finally sat down and wrote the script, and I finally sat down and I'm filming it, and I hopefully will finally sit down and actually cut and edit it. But none of that matters to you, because you won't even notice, since I have not posted anything yet. I'm just waiting for all of the videos to be done and then post them in one swoop. Or, you know, at least post them in a week's time, like put one up week 1, put one up week 2, and so on and so forth. So yeah, by the time this video comes out, you probably... So that's good, I guess. I'm also planning on some other content. I have one script that I'm kind of almost done with. I don't know if it's too interesting for you, but I thought I'd just kind of work with my actual credentials. Thinking about posting other cosplay progress videos. I have filmed my progress on my Kore / Persephone from Lore Olympus cosplay, but I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to make a video of that, or a video series of that, because A, I never got to wear it, because I made it for Leipzig Book Fair, and then they just, you know, that never happened. So I don't really have pictures, and I mean, it turned out well. I like the work in progress pictures I took, but it's different if you've never seen it in full costume. And also, a lot of the progress isn't really as interesting as I thought it would be, because a lot of the patterns I've used are just regular patterns, worked around a little. So I don't know if there's anything new to learn or to talk about, except for me, like, yeah, I followed the instructions, and here's a dress. So I don't know if that's going to be interesting. I'm currently working on another cosplay, and that might be an interesting topic for a series, but again, same thing, I don't know when I'll get to wear it, because I don't know when convention time's going to start back up. I've been rambling on for way too much, and all of this wasn't even in the script, like, I've just been talking, so I'm sorry for that. I don't know how much of this was going to stay in. Maybe some of it, maybe none, we'll see. So, back on track. Today we're going to be tackling our last piece of the Toko Fukawa cosplay, which is the shirt. Yay! And the collar, which is actually detachable in my version. I'm a huge fan of detachable costume pieces because cosplay can be quite dirty. God, no, not in that way, but you get sweaty. Like, convention rooms are usually really, really hot, and there's a lot of people that heat that whole thing up even more than most of them are in summer, at least here. So, and you want to eat, so you have to be very careful, because usually the food you get at conventions is just like fast food. And then there's other people at those conventions that might not be as considerate as you are, because, well, they're not in cosplay, and they don't even, like, I'm not even mad or anything, they just don't know the problems that come with it, so they're just at their normal, regular level of careful, because they're wearing a fan shirt and they can just put it in the wash, but you can't, and then their ice cream is all over your costume, and here we are. I tried to design my pieces as practically and washable as possible, just for those instances. I know it's not always possible, like sometimes you just can't. you can wash it by hand, but not really in the wash, like in the machine. I still try to keep that in mind. And there's always the thing, like, you're just not gonna wear your costume as often as you wear regular clothes, so you probably don't have to wash them as often, but, you know, still, I like to keep my clothes clean. For this shirt, I used an easy t-shirt pattern that I got from a magazine. I don't know if I mentioned, and I'm really not trying to shill anything, and I'm not sponsored, because why would they sponsor me? Like, this is my 3rd video. No, I'm not trying to shill anything, I'm just trying to disclose my sources. I don't know, maybe that's the academic coming through. There's this magazine that was actually invented by a German housewife in the 50s or 40s or something like that, called Burda, B-U-R-D-A, Burda magazine. And they publish patterns, and I think it's a monthly magazine, I'm not sure, because they have all sorts of different issues and all sorts of different lines geared towards different people. And then there's this version that's specifically geared towards beginners. That one comes out every 3 or 4 months. You can keep an eye out for that, because I like to use the beginner magazine for a lot of pattern constructions, since it's a field I'm still new at and new to, so a good way to start is to actually take patterns you already have and patterns you know and try to adjust them a little bit, and those beginner patterns are great for that. So I took a t-shirt pattern out of one of those magazines and adjusted it to my needs. So what's different? Well, my shirt has a little pocket added in, like a little boob pocket. Anyways, a little pocket added in, as well as a zipper in the back. So that one I needed because the pattern doesn't really have any darts, and usually if you have non-elastic fabrics, like that one doesn't have any darts as well because it's an elastic fabric, so you can just pull it over and it'll you know, fit. It's gonna go around your body and adjust itself. But usually, especially for women's garments, you're gonna need darts if you want to have stuff lying flat and, you know, adjusting to the body, to the form, to create some sort of roundish 3D shape. So that pattern didn't have any, and I wasn't using an elastic fabric because I couldn't get one that would fit in with the colour of the skirt, and I wanted it to be one colour, because that's the thing, you think black is black, you know, but it's not. Like, really, really not. And you'll notice those aspects if you put it together and if you have those two fabrics close. To take a non-elastic fabric like the same one I used for the skirt, because I couldn't use an elastic fabric for the skirt either, because it would stretch and wouldn't keep its form as nicely as it should. I added in a zipper at the back of it so that I could open it, slip in and close it back up, and it would still fit. Apart from that, I have white cuffs that I added to the ends of my sleeves because those were part of the costume, and it's a really easy alteration. I also added a patch on the shoulder and some lace, as shown in the pictures of the character, to make it more character-like, to make it more appropriate. I also changed up the colour a little bit because the shirt has more of a U-line, more of a neckline instead of an actual full-on collar. That was kind of a mistake, but if anyone's asking, all of that was intentional. All of it. We start by cutting out the pattern as well as our fabric. I cut into my back piece where I wanted the zipper to go. Measure that one first, like measure your zipper first, and then know how far you're going to have to cut in there. And check beforehand whether or not you want your zipper to go into the collar as well, or if you're going to close the collar off separately. This one's easy, you just follow along the sewing instructions that usually come with a pattern. Most tops usually start with creating the shoulder seams, like here, and as well as the side seams of the bodice, so work your way through that. You know, there's usually an instruction, or at least a diagram, which marks off which seams have to go first. After that, most instructions usually continue on to your sleeve seams. Before I did those though, I had to do some alterations regarding the cuffs. I still had some white stretchy ripped fabric left over, like you usually see those kinds of fabrics in the cuffs and the hems of sweaters and jumpers. and used that one for my cuffs for my sweater as well. I took my waist circumference. I measured the circumference. Circumference? This is a stupid word. I measured around my wrists. You know, took that measurement and then added a couple of centimeters just in case. Then closed the edges and turned it around. Closed the last edge as well. I kind of ironed it flat in between so that it would lie nicely, and then I added some black lace to it. I then added those to the sleeves and just cut the seam and cleaned it up. Looking back onto it, that was kind of stupid, and I should have probably done it differently and done it the same way I'd do waistbands, by just, you know, taking in the edge of the sleeve into my cuff. But, you know, people, you live and you learn. I also kind of ruffled the edges of the sleeves a little bit before I took them in there, before I sewed them together, so that it would get a little bit puffy. Not much, just a little bit. Did the side seam of the sleeve. I used 2 different threads, like I did the black part of the sleeve in black and the white part of the sleeve in white, so that you wouldn't really notice on the outside. So technically I did like 2 sleeve seams, but in the end they're one. You know what I mean, right? This makes sense. I then added the sleeves onto the garment. This is still kind of a tricky thing for me to do. It's almost as bad as assembling pants. Like, I don't like pants, they're just weird. But that doesn't matter. I always have to pin it and then just turn it inside out to know if I've actually pinned it correctly, because it's a bit tricky. I don't know, it's just tricky for me. It's just hard. So, if anyone knows anything to make this a little bit easier, I'd be very grateful for any help and tips. I turned the shirt inside out, then go through one of the openings and pin the sleeves right side on what is now the inside of the garment, which is now the right side as well, I think. And then, you know, just pin it and sew it on like that. It's important that you align the sleeve side seams with your garment side seams as well, because that way the seams would then finally, you know, fit onto each other nicely. When you're done, you can turn your shirt back the normal way. Now, take the piece that you cut out for the collar and attach it to the shirt the way you'd normally attach a waistband. I don't really want to get into it now because it's basically the same process, and if you want to, you can check out the video on the skirt for reference. Basically, the idea is that you want to tuck away the edge, like the loose edge of your garment, between 2 layers of fabric. I also added some hooks to then close the collar, because I decided to close the collar separately and just have the zipper in the back of the actual bodice. After that, you can hem your shirt. Again, this is basically the same process every time, so if you want to, you can check out the videos for the skirt for reference. I know, only now edit the details, because, and I think we have established this pretty well by now, I am in fact stupid. It would have been so much easier to actually do this on a flat piece of fabric and not a garment that was already assembled, but you know, you live and you learn. You live and you learn. I should really make this my mantra and do like a little cross stitch and hang it up over my door. Anyways, details now. Easiest part, just add the lace to the bottom. Really easy, just pin it, sew it, you're done. Next, the pocket. A little harder than just putting lace onto something, but still fairly easy, I think. So, I started by cutting a slit into my shirt where I wanted the pocket to later be. Then took 2 pieces of black fabric that was still left over and added them onto those, like onto the shirt where the slit was. Just pin right and right and then flip it inside out, pull the pocket through the shirt, so now you have a nice edge and you'll have those 2 flabby pieces of fabric inside of your shirt. I then did the side seams of the pocket so that those 2 flabby pieces would now actually be, you know, an actual pocket. I also took care that I would have a little piece of lace add it to one of the slits. Last detail. Yes, the patch. Toko has this school logo patch on her shoulder. I don't know what shoulder it is. It's one of those two because you only have two shoulders. So to do the patch, I took some leftover fabric from the colour. Yes, I get to the colour in time. Just give me a second. I printed out a picture of the logo that I found online, and then did a sketch of it because I couldn't enlarge it enough to just have the correct size, so I had to enlarge it by hand. I sketched it on there, cut that out, and used it as a stencil on the fabric. Thin as a tan. Thin as a tan point. Nice. Thin as 18.1. I then used set stencil to cut out 2 pieces of fabric plus 1 piece of interfacing. You know, the stuff that just sticks onto things as soon as you heat it up. I think I could have probably made do with just 1 piece. That way it would just give it some really nice grip. So what you want to do is just very basic stuff. First, iron your interfacing onto 1 piece of the fabric, onto one of the fabric layers, and then pin them together. Now, this is a little different. I went around the whole piece and the little hole in the middle with a really small zigzag, stitch, so that in the end I'd have it cleaned up, and have this really hard edge. The moment you have all been waiting for. It is finally time to make the sailor colour. I don't know why, but I think this is probably one of the most researched and most made sort of cosplay beginners, Lolita, whatever patterns I've seen out there. And it's weird because it's really not that hard and it's really easy to do. So in case you haven't found your tutorial of your dreams yet, maybe this one will help a little. I don't have the pattern with me right now. I usually keep all of my patterns, no matter how small they are, just for later projects. It is at my flat, and since I'm currently with my parents, I don't have it. If I do end up getting it and manage to scan it, I will probably add it to my blog. I sometimes put patterns on there, sometimes I don't, depending on it. Sometimes there might actually be a PDF available for you to make this on your own, but it doesn't really matter because it's not that hard to do. You can easily make it yourself. I started by tracing the form I actually wanted for the colour off of my doll. Just put the shirt I had on there and just checked that all of the proportions would fit in nicely, and then I cut it out to create an actual pattern. I ended up tracing that pattern onto my piece of fabric as well. I cut it out twice so that I could put the 2 pieces together, sew around the edges, leave one edge open, and then just flip it and finish up that last edge. I think you know the process by now, it's just the same thing again and again. I also added in some of the interfacing, whatever it's called, the sticky stuff. I should call it the sticky stuff. I also added some black lace around the piece. As always, I lay it on, then I pin it on, and then I sew it on when I'm happy with how it looks. And there you go. A quick, easy, and yet stylish sailor collar for all of your cosplay and Lolita dreams. I just took 2 pieces of this red. I don't really know what kind of fabric it is. I think red crepe, something like that. That I had left over from my grandma. Yes, it wouldn't be a video of mine without me mentioning her. Big shout out to grandma. But I took those 2 pieces, sewed them together, flipped them, finished the edge, and then had a scarf that I could put around the collar. That's the whole costume. Yeah. I ordered a styled wig, so I didn't make that one myself. And I probably have to redo the braids at some point in time. I'm not great at wig making. I'm trying to get into it a little bit, but sewing is just kind of more up my alley. But if you have any wig making tips, just shoot. I'm always interested. And I just wore my own glasses, the ones that are on my face right now, because I do need them to see. And it is always nice to have them incorporated in costumes, because that way I am most comfortable. I'm not a fan of contacts. Like, I've tried it, but not really. But that doesn't matter, I just well, my glasses, in case you're wondering where I got them from. So that was fun, I think. I really liked breaking down my own progress, and I might actually do that again in the future. You know, I've talked a bit about it. I'm not sure what the next thing is, what the next costume is gonna be that I'm just gonna go into a little bit more. So this was fun, I guess. Yeah, it was fun. I think it was fun. I really like breaking down my own process, and I might do it again in the future, hopefully. I'm not sure on what other project to show you next, but it's gonna be something, maybe. It's gonna be something. I also have some other conceptual ideas, you know, this and that. And so far, I really hope you enjoyed this, and I would love for you to check out my other social media, or my blog. I'm gonna link all of that below. I'd also love for you to just, you know, check out the other videos if you haven't already. Now that there is nothing left to say, I thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day, and I will return now to my small little corner of the world.